Hey guys, Graeme McInnis here with McInnis Realty Group, and this is my market update for the Calgary real estate market for what happened in July of 2023. Let's dive into the statistics. Essentially the same story as all the previous videos the entire year, basically, and even last year. The market's just hotter than ever, and there's nothing for sale. Supply and demand drives the market up. It's really simple. And we'll dive into some news articles that have just come out recently as well about the market and what is happening, specifically in Calgary relative to the rest of the country. Once again, there is no such thing as the Canadian real estate market like you might see in some of the news headlines and stuff. Every market is local. So in Calgary, this just came out August 1st. Today is August 2nd, 2023. Rising rates had little impact on sales this month as the 2,647 sales represented a year-over-year gain of 18%, reflecting the strongest July levels reported on record. So the strongest sales for July ever. That says a lot right there. The record-setting pace has been driven mainly by significant gains in the relatively affordable apartment condominium sector. Condos are the hottest market segment because they're the most affordable property type now that interest rates have gone up so much. But again, still historically low. You got to have perspective here. Obviously, if you're younger, you're entering the market for the first time, you might think that rates are high, at least if you knew what they were 2 years ago, because they were quite a bit lower. But again, those were emergency low interest rates that the government kind of had to put in place to keep things moving, during 2021, 2022. And then once things got back to normal, the government had to raise the rates back to a normal level because you can't keep rates ultra low forever. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. In line with seasonal expectations, sales and new listings trended down compared to last month. However, this had minimal impact on inventory levels, which remained near the July record low set in 2006. So if you were around in 2006, or if you weren't, basically from July 2006 through to about July 2007, the Calgary market went up a tremendous amount, depending on the type of property and the price point you were in. But let's just say that from the beginning of July to the middle of 2007, the prices went up 50%. They've gone up a tremendous amount in Calgary the last 2 years, and they're going to continue to go up. So let's just take a look at this here. So sales, 2,647, up 17% from July of last year. New listings, only up 2%. So sales are up 17%, but the number of new listings, the number of new homes that came on the market in July of 2023 compared to July 2022, only up 2%. So the sales are dwarfing the new listings. July over July, prices up 5%. Prices are up more than that this year total, though. Again, this is looking at July over July 2022. July today, 2023, July 2022. Detached price, $690. It was just in March, I believe, that we hit a new record high for home prices in Calgary, which was about $650. That was in March or so. And now here we are in July, at the end of July, and the price is now $690. So where's it going to be by the end of this year? The record setting home prices for Calgary, I mean, who knows, 750, 730, something like that. It's going to be higher, that's for sure. Inventory, total number of homes for sale compared to July of 2022 is down. So the sales are up 17%, but the inventory is down 34%. It's putting a squeeze on the market. Again, function of supply and demand. There's a lot more buyers than there are homes for sale. Where are all these buyers coming from? It's first-time home buyers, and it's people from other provinces, and maybe people who are renting right now and looking to get into the market because they see what's happening and they don't want to pay someone else's mortgage. They want to pay their own mortgage and benefit their own family, their own future. And it's, of course, immigration, huge numbers of immigration into Canada in the last couple of years. That's not going anywhere. That's going to continue. And that's a good thing. We need as many immigrants really as we can possibly get. What a lot of people don't seem to understand when they complain about immigration is how many people in Canada die every year. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of people. And if we don't, we're not having enough kids in Canada. And there's, again, a whole other, video could be made about why that is. Even though I just had 2 kids in the last 2 years and I'm in my 40s, I mean, you can do it, right? I'm an old dad, as they say, but we just had a baby just a couple months ago. So, I mean, we need to have more kids to keep the birth rate, to keep the population healthy in Canada so that the economy stays strong. This is like, again, pretty simple economics. And we're just not having enough kids to replace the dying population. And so we have to bring in immigrants because if we don't, the population will decline, the economy will falter, and it'll be a disaster. Like literally, it will be a disaster. So we can't have that. We need to bring in immigrants, and that is who a portion of who is buying the homes. However, they have to be Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Foreign buyers are banned in Canada as of January 1st, 2023. So it's not foreign buyers. These are Canadians. It's just maybe they got here 2 years ago. It took them 2 years to get their permanent residency. And now that they have permanent residency, they're not considered a foreign buyer. And now they can buy. They've already been contributing to the Canadian economy for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long they've been here. And now they're becoming citizens. They're becoming permanent residents. Now they can buy. And so they're doing it on very large numbers. And again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, it's just all the people coming to Alberta from other provinces as well. It's in the tens of thousands. So if we only sell collectively as the Calgary Real Estate Board 25,000 homes in 1 year, but 40,000 people move to Calgary or Alberta, whatever the number is, where that's going to bring the supply down and increase the demand, prices go up. Again, months of supply, guys, you got to understand how insane this is. This is literally an insane number. And what really blows my mind is it's 1.32 months of inventory. Again, what does that mean? It means if we as realtors stop listing properties, the current supply of properties, we would sell everything in 1.32 months at the current pace of sales. So that is just a way to determine how hot is the market. How long would the inventory get chewed up or sold, in other words, if we stopped listing properties 1.3 months. So 1 month and 10 days, roughly, let's say, 40 days, in other words. That's nothing. That's like, boom, and there would be nothing for sale after that if we didn't list any other properties. And again, it's just a way to indicate how hot the market is. So 1.32 months of supply, down 44% from July of 2022. That is insane. And 1.3 months, you guys, of inventory is nothing. Like that just means, properties come on the market and they sell within a couple of days, a couple of weeks. Maybe some properties that are either overpriced or have some other type of issue, such as, I don't know, it's like a foreclosure or a former grow op, or there's something odd about it that would make it undesirable. Those are the only properties that are sitting on the market. Maybe ultra expensive properties, they're still sitting on the market. Otherwise, if you see a listing and it's been on the market for 60 days, and there's nothing else wrong with it, it's like a decent enough house, it's literally because it's way overpriced. Otherwise, it would sell in this market. That's just the reality. So 1.32 months of supply. That's crazy. A balanced market. So a seller's market, which is what we're in right now, is about 0 to let's say 3 to 3.5 months of supply. A balanced market where prices aren't going up or down. In a seller's market, prices go up. A balanced market where prices aren't going up or down is about 3.5 months of supply to maybe 5 months. Okay. A buyer's market where prices are going down and you can get, usually a pretty good deal on a house. But of course, most buyers don't want to buy in a buyer's market because prices are going down. So they just say, I'm just going to wait because prices are going down. Why would I buy a house and then move in and have the value of it go down? And so more buyers don't buy. And then for a seller to sell, when buyers aren't buying, they have to reduce their price. Finally, the house does sell at a lower price. That's how prices come down. We're nowhere near that. We will not be seeing a buyer's market in Calgary unless and until, because, eventually it will happen. The economy works in a cycle. There's a huge recession, and not just a small recession. It would need to be a huge one where a lot of people are losing their jobs and they're forced to sell their home and put their house on the market, and when they have no other choice. Otherwise, they'll just stay and it'll be a balanced market. Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to happen. There's no massive recession coming. There's not writing on the wall that we could see into our crystal ball and say, oh, yes, we can see these indicators. There's a recession coming. It's not happening. So it will happen in the future. Recessions always happen, but it's just when. It's like way beyond where anybody could even guess, like a big one. Maybe a small one might come and go. You wouldn't even notice. But a big recession, I mean, who knows? Like, it's years in the future, barring any crazy global events. So 1.32 months of supply, that's nothing. That's just nothing. We can get into these statistics here. Let's actually just take a look at some of these graphics. 540,000, prices up 6% year over year in the north section. The northeast up 10% in the northeast. Look at this, east of Calgary. This is your Dovers, your Forest Lawns, your Pembrokes, your Marlboroughs. These types of neighborhoods up 17% since July of last year. I mean, that's the best buy in Calgary. If you bought a house in Forest Lawn, last year or 2 years ago or 10 years ago, you have made huge money on it, relatively as a percent, compared to what you paid. 17% up in the east, which, where all the rough neighborhoods are, in Calgary. Man, that's incredible. Why is that? It's because that's where the most affordable homes were. As interest rates went up, people were driven to those neighborhoods where they could still afford a house, a detached house, if that's what they wanted. City center, not a lot of action. They're not seeing much price increase in the city center. Man, why is that? It's a little bit difficult to say. My guess would be there's just not enough families basically making moves here. People are either just staying as the rates have gone up and they're not moving, which means there's no activity, which means the prices don't go up or down really. Townhouses in the city center, this is for you, Jonathan. They haven't really budged, apparently, compared to last year. And again, it's mainly just because there's not a lot of single people or single couples with no kids that are looking to drop, 5, 6, 700,000 on a townhouse in the inner city. If you can afford it, I mean, yeah, there's some activity, it's happening, but there's not enough activity to drive prices up. In the west, up 6.5%. In the south, up 6.3% in compared to July last year. Southeast up 5.6%. Kind of surprising by the southeast, considering how hot neighborhoods like Mahogany and Seton and stuff like that are, where I do a lot of sales. But the reason is because it went up massively the prior 2 years. The prices in the southeast have gone up. If you bought a detached house in Seton in 2018, you paid $550 for it. That house is worth $800,000-900,000 today. So the price already went up a huge amount in the last like 2.5 to 3 years, and they're just kind of hitting a ceiling, at least for the time being. But still, 5% in 1 year is a serious gain, and that's nothing to be disappointed about. Let's take a look at a few more statistics here. I just wanted to show you a couple more graphs. This is also really interesting. Price comparisons, benchmark price in July, detached homes. So in July, detached homes across the entire city, average prices, they're the benchmark price. So city center, the typical detached house, 850,000. Let's say in the southeast, typical detached house, just under 700,000. Man, the prices are really getting up there for detached homes in all quadrants of the city. Seeing some big price increases. So let's look year over year price growth comparison for July 2023 over July 2022. Again, detached homes, depending on the segment. So city center up 5%, northeast up over 10%, north just under 10%, and so forth. Southeast, again, we kind of looked at this at that other graph of the quadrants. Man, lots of price increases, lots of price growth. The market is smoking. let's take a look at this. Headlines, Calgary real estate news. Want to buy a house in Calgary? You're not alone. Why the city's booming despite high interest rates is what it says. Calgary's housing prices are exploding with a big record set last month. What that's talking about, that was just an article from 22 hours ago. Last month, in certain sections of the city, the houses went up 4% in 1 month. So in the west section of the city, so not the northwest, not the southwest, we call it now the west, which is your Signal Hill, Springbank area type of homes, Aspen Woods, Cougar Ridge, West Springs, Discovery Ridge, Signal Hill, Sienna Park, all these different neighborhoods that are over in the west end of the city. Prices up 4% in that section of the city in 1 month. So annualize that. If that trend continued, prices would be up 20%, maybe up to 40%, depending on when that trend really started a few months ago, several months ago. You're seeing huge increases in the value of residential real estate in Calgary. These two cities are now the top search spots for real estate in Canada. It's what the article says is that it's Calgary and Edmonton. And most people are choosing Calgary. There's definitely a different market in Edmonton. It's not as hot. It's a strong market in Edmonton, but it's nowhere near as hot as Calgary. Here's another article. Calgary home sales set new July record as they climbed 18% from last year. Again, the sales, not the prices, up 18% compared to last year. Calgary real estate is on a tear, bucking the trend elsewhere. So, I mean, let's just dive into one of these articles. You guys can look at that for yourself. So look at the rest for yourself in your own Google searches, doing your market research. Interest rates climbed in Canada over the last year, so have mortgage payments. As a result, house prices in many markets have started to slow their steep ascent. The one major exception, Calgary. The latest numbers from the Calgary Real Estate Board confirm it, with the average home price in Calgary at $539. That's the average price across all property types, not the average price just for detached homes. As I showed you on the first graphic there from the real estate statistic package, the average price of detached homes is $690 for detached homes. It's a little bit lower when you throw into the mix condos, townhouses, and duplexes. Anyway, up nearly 10% as an aggregate compared to last year. That's a big jump. That townhouse that you were thinking of buying last year, priced at $399, is now $439, maybe even $449, something like that, $450, depending on where it is and the total square feet and its condition and features. But man, that's a huge increase. That's a tough pill to swallow. That would increase your payments quite a bit. Combined with higher rates, your payments are going to be quite a lot higher this year than they would have been if you locked into a 5-year fixed rate last year, or even earlier in the year. You could have got as low as 4.29, let's say maybe in January or February of this year, and then the rates just kind of started creeping back up. Now the best you could probably hope for on a 5-year fixed rate is about 5.39, something like that. But the reality is, again, keep in mind, you have to look at perspective. That's not a bad rate, you guys. It's really not. 5.39 was roughly what I got for my first mortgage 20 years ago, right? So yeah, it's not that bad of a rate, historically speaking. They could definitely go higher. They've been much, much higher in the past. Again, you need to be old as me to remember this stuff or to know about it, really, if you've never looked into it. But mortgage interest rates, for all you youngins out there, went as high as 18% in the 80s. Yeah, of course, a house was only $100,000, but incomes were much lower too. So it's all relative, right? So anyways, let's take a look at this. Numbers from the Terranet National Bank Housing Price Index back this up. For example, while prices in Toronto and Vancouver have dropped from their peak of spring 2022, they still remain much higher than Calgary. Canadians flocking to Alberta despite unemployment rate, rising housing costs, although I don't really know what that means. The unemployment rate here is fine. Basically, it's average, like where it should be. Escalating mortgage costs may not discourage those coming from markets such as Toronto, with detached homes that often cost more than $1 million. Those buyers are less sensitive to those higher interest rates when they view similar homes in Calgary. What that means is when they view homes in Calgary that are similar, a 2,000 square foot double front detached garage, 3-bed, 2.5 bath house that they could get in Whitby, Ontario, that's 1.2 million or something like that, relative to Calgary, you could get that here for 5, 6, 700,000. It's a big difference, and those people are moving here, and to them, prices are cheap. Again, real estate is very relative and it's very local. So Calgarians might think prices are high. When people from Vancouver or kind of BC and lower mainland area in general and the more expensive parts of Ontario look at real estate here, they think it's a deal. And that's why they're moving here by the tens of thousands. And, they are being a big factor in driving up the home prices here. So anyways, this is going on just to say that the market is super hot, and, the prices are absolutely rising. And, this is the story that's just going to continue to be the headline for the foreseeable future. Let's see what this one says. If you're on the hunt for a house in Calgary, be prepared to battle other buyers as YYC's housing market prices continue to soar in July. Calgary Real Estate Board says July saw the 7th consecutive monthly gain in home prices in Calgary, with the 7th consecutive monthly gain in home prices. They did dip a little bit in December. That's what they're referring to. And that was kind of the bottom of the market. So July 2022, the market kind of peaked. It cooled off as interest rates continued to climb in the last half of 2022. And now from, let's say, January 2023 to now, prices have gone up every month. So large portion of the record-setting pace was attributed to significant gains in the apartment condo sector. And despite recent gains, year-to-date sales in that section have declined 19% over last year. Calgary housing market remains a seller's market, with inventory levels remaining near their July record low set in 2006. But I will make an argument that the market as a whole is lower in terms of total inventory than 2006, because the difference between 2006 and now is we have, depending on whose numbers you look at, 200,000-300,000 more people than we did then. Right. So as a whole, the inventory is lower now when you factor in today's population of Greater Calgary versus the population of Greater Calgary in 2006. In July, the unadjusted total residential benchmark price reached $567. Again, that's for all property types. Detached homes, again, up at $690. They've never been higher as an average. And this statistic kind of gives some good information here. Again, 23 days on market average. That's how long it's taking on average homes to sell. But that is not even remotely close how long it's taking the good properties in good locations with a good list price. That is just, what the house is worth, not too high, not too low. Those homes are selling in a couple of days, if not the first day. Just for an example, today's Wednesday. On Sunday, I just sold a house, and it was on the market for 3 days, but that's only because we delayed the offers until Sunday night. It went very, very interesting market, and yeah, it is hot. So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I don't want to go on too long. You know that I can go on long with these market update videos, but you get the idea, right? I mean, I've been saying the same thing this entire time for a couple of years now. Just get into the market. You don't need your first house to be a huge single family detached house. That your parents have now. They didn't buy that as their first house either. They bought a condo or a townhouse or a half duplex or something more affordable. They got into the market and they rode the property ladder up, and buy a piece of real estate, and contact me if you'd like some help with that. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.